Hey, what's going on, everyone? I recently did a video which was essentially an overview of my absolute failure to accomplish the majority of my reading goals for 2024. If you want to check that one out, do so before this one, because it's probably going to be the same thing. You know, at the end of this year in 2025, we're probably going to do the same thing. But let's see, I think I was 2 for 9 officially in that video. But be as it may, we're going to try. I got 8 goals here for 2025. We kept a couple of them kind of the same, kinda. And then the rest I changed up a little bit. Hopefully I will do better this time around. But let's just go ahead and get started. So the first one here is the nice easy layup. I have to keep this one in here. If I don't, I would have been 1 for 8 apparently in 2024. So first one is just to finish 52 books, which is 1 for, each week of the year, that kind of thing. That's easy. I know I can do that one. No pressure. It's just going to help, bump my grade up a little bit. So that's why I've always pretty much just had that one as long as I can remember. So we're definitely keeping that one. Number 2 is to balance out my reading in the terms of all the genres that I now read, like quite a bit of. And I actually don't even know 100% what I mean by that. I'm hoping I come up with something. I don't necessarily mean I want an even split of 25% between the 4 categories, which are history, science, philosophy, and now classics and fiction of some kind. So fiction and classics just started towards the end, the last last third or so of last year. I don't picture me reading a full 25% per se, but I do feel like between the 4 categories now, I feel like there's kind of periods where I don't read one of the 4, and I guess that's fine. I just want to make sure that I do enjoy all 4 of these, and I just want to make sure I have enough time and just enough bandwidth for each one, if that makes sense. Like I said, not necessarily page count or the number of titles for each one being perfectly even. Just because I can guarantee you philosophy and classics are just not going to equal up to the same amount as history and science, because those really just are my kind of go-to favorites and comfort reads and that kind of thing. But like I said, just kind of figure out, not even necessarily some kind of system, but hopefully just kind of naturally figure something out. I love how this is the vaguest goal ever. So pretty much no matter what, I can probably hit it. I can probably interpret it in some way, unless I just absolutely fail at it. But yeah, like I said, just try to figure something out as far as that goes. I just want to kind of share a couple the things. For example, lots of different things. So classics, my next classic is gonna be I'm probably actually gonna read this entire Oxford World Classic of Jack London, which has Call of the Wild, as well as White Fang, and then a bunch of little tiny short stories, such as To Build a Fire, which was recommended to me and everything. And they're all pretty short, so I figure might as well just read them all kind of together like that. Like I said, I've been enjoying that. And then science, someone got me this lovely Lizards of the World: A Guide to Every Family by Mark O'Shea from Princeton University Press for Christmas here. And it's I now have we have a rescue bearded dragon. So someone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get it." They asked me if I had any lizard books, and I said I did not have any lizard books. So now I do. So we're gonna be reading that, for example. Philosophy, same thing. I was gifted Byung-Chul Han's The Spirit of Hope, which apparently just came out in November, and he's a contemporary South Korean German philosopher. Who I've really enjoyed so far from the stuff that I have read about him. And this one is all about not necessarily giving into despair and that kind of thing, I'm assuming. So we'll see how that one goes. And then for history reading, I'll bring this one up a little bit too. One that I recently picked up for myself was this biography on Nero by Anthony Everett. So like I said, we got science, philosophy, history, classics. Just figure something out there. Anyways, number 3 is to keep up with the 3 major events that I'm either hosting or co-hosting. So for those who don't know, I am running the science reading challenge and the philosophy reading challenge. I'll leave links to all that stuff down below as well. And the primary goals of those ones, obviously are to read philosophy and to read science. I've already done the philosophy announcement for this year. I'm still kind of tweaking the science one, so hopefully that one will be coming out in the next hopefully the first half of January at some point in time. But I'm also a co-host of Historathon now. I'll leave a link to Revenant Reads, who created this history reading event 2 years ago. So this is a third yearly iteration of it. But that one's got a pretty active, all three of them have active Discords, but the history one definitely is the most active and has the most members and that kind of thing. So I just want to make sure I keep up participating and kind of running and helping out with all three of those events and stuff. And it should be pretty easy in the sense of those are like the three biggest, I guess, genres that I read and everything. But I like I said, just make sure I don't kind of go AWOL or go on hiatus with any of that sort of stuff going on. And number 4 sort of ties into that. So the 4th goal is to continue to participate in more Booktube community events. I feel like I actually did pretty good last year with that. You know, I want to make sure I do like March of the Mammoths. Now that I read fiction, there might be a couple like other ones, like Jane Austen July or Victober or something like that. I might like dip my toes in, try to figure something out there. Not 100% sure. A newish booktuber, Robert G, is doing this big event on like trying to read a biography for each of the Roman emperors, which is partly why I picked up out of all the history books, I just picked up this one. Even though I already have read a different kind of work on Nero and the fire in Rome and that kind of thing. Like I said, I might participate in that one. I'm still like thinking if I can plan out. I have to like kind of research some different titles I might want to read for participating in something like that. But like I said, just kind of being in the Booktube ether a lot more, commenting on other people's videos and that kind of thing. Which reminds me, if you have a, if you do videos, if you have a like bookish goal, Booktube reading goal type video, leave it down below. Link to it. I'll definitely check it out. I have checked out quite a few so far, but like I said, always like room to like enjoy some more for sure. And even if you don't make videos yourself, if you've seen one that you really liked, leave a comment down below, linking to it as well. Number 5, kind of on the booktube-ish aspect of it, is to not have any gaps longer than 12 days. So it sounds like a weird kind of arbitrary goal, and it is. Partly it's because I had a goal last year to be consistent. Consistency's been like probably my weakest thing with Booktube since like starting out several years ago. But I feel like last year was probably my best Booktube year, whatever like that really means, I guess. If that, and part of that was actually being consistent since I came back like in February of last year. I set myself a goal of not having any gaps longer than 2 weeks. And I ended up I did have one like 3-week gap in the fall of last year. But one's actually not too bad for me, all things considering. So I figure, you know, I'll try to shorten it down to like 12 days instead of 14 days and hopefully maybe, you know, not have any at all. Number 6 is to do more book journaling and note-taking, which is something I've just started doing this year. I've done a couple of like review videos where I've like shown kind of like my notes and thought processes and like kind of like what I took in the book journals and that kind of thing. I have some, like for example, I have one on Plato. Just anytime I read anything about Plato or like one of his dialogues, I'll take notes on it in that one. Pretty much the only ones I do journal though are like philosophy stuff. I have just started like a science gloom and doom one. Just I don't know why, but this kind of, like I said, I don't really have any concrete like numbers or anything I want to hit. It's just trying to be more mindful and active with it. I do enjoy it with certain books. I do find like I'm starting to get the annotation system that I like for myself. So I feel like I feel pretty good kind of homing in on that aspect of it as well. But this kind of ties into number 7 as well, which is to work on, I did a video actually specifically on this goal effectively, but I'm going to be starting with this one, starting like hopefully next week, in like an ancient Greek intellectual thought and culture kind of journal, where pretty much any kind of philosophy that's not like Aristotle or Plato, because they're going to have like their own journals, any kind of philosophy or any kind of Greek concept that like I'm reading like books over and stuff, just kind of it's hard to explain, but there's like a lot of things like arete, right? You know, it's kind of translated as excellence and that kind of thing, but it's kind of a not the great, you know, it's just like the best we have, kind of like as an English cognate and stuff. But I have a lot of books on different topics, like for example, like freedom in Greek life and thought, for example, and then the series on paideia, by Werner Jaeger, which is supposed to be really good. I know it's going to be after like flipping through it and stuff. Just stuff like that on like kind of like Greek education and, like I said, like intellectual history and ideas and everything like that. I don't know why, I just, like I said, reading about like classical like Greek history is just like my favorite thing ever, so I figured this would just be like a really fun journal project for myself, so I definitely want to give that kind of a shot for sure. And then lastly, it's kind of on the like the Booktube side of things, is to actually try out creating and actually putting some effort into creating some reading vlogs. I used to do some like nature walk videos where I was like in the woods or the paths behind my house and that kind of thing. I tried a couple videos where I was like in the gardens a little bit, but I want to kind of really like actually like attempt some vlog videos. I don't know, like a lot of people do really lovely vlogs. Probably my favorite one to watch is Farah over at Bookstalgic. I'll leave a link to her channel down below. But she comes out with like really lovely like monthly reading vlogs, and I know a lot of other people do kind of the same thing as well. And I was like, I keep always telling myself, man, I should try that. And I have tried it like once or twice, and it's a lot. There's a lot more effort into those kind of videos than me just sitting down talking like this one. So that's usually why they don't like end up happening. But like I said, I want to put a little bit more effort into maybe like the videography aspect of things. I'm not 100% sure. But just like I said, just try it out. No like concrete like numbers on like I have to do so many or whatever. But like I said, just try it out and see how that goes. So there you have it. Those are my 8 goals. Give me a prediction on how many of these I'll actually accomplish by the end of the year. Like I said, I was 2 for 9 for 2024. That gives you kind of, I guess, any heads up on, like I said, how well I might do for this one. Like I said, though, if you do have videos on bookish goals or Booktube reading goals, leave a link down below. And always remember, whether you're meeting your goals or not, read victoriously.